Hi guys, I'm with Fisayo, Dairo, Chief Football Writer, ACL Sports. Okay, so for those that don't know, ACL Sports correctly were the first team to break the, well, and then they were saying 44 miles or whatever, before it was cut down to 40 miles, but they got it accurate and perfect. First team to break it. My question remains, Fisayo, with a lot of injuries plaguing the Nigerian national team, does it beg the question why, I mean, the spat between the federation and the head coach, invite 27, invite 25, does it beg the question, why didn't Jose just go with 27 from the start?
It's a controversial topic, and for me, I think it's not a big deal as much as people have made it to seem, because I think if he came with 27 players and 1, 2, 3 got injured like they have, he will still have to replace them from the remaining. So yes, maybe it would have helped to get more numbers, but in the training we watched on Thursday afternoon, we had 22 players in training, and that's about the number of players that were prosecuting a tournament before COVID-19 came, and then everyone started to be listing 26, 27 for tournaments. So I don't see it's much such a big deal, because whoever was injured out of 27 would still be replaced.
Talking about injuries, should we be looking at the training methods of Jose Peseiro and his team? I mean, you have 2 players that pulled out their injury. Is it just ill luck, or the training methods should be looked at?
Well, everything has to be aggregated. Yes, the coach would have to think at this point that, what is it I'm doing? Because make no mistakes about it, these guys have played a half season in Europe, which means there are a lot of knocks, there are a lot of wear and tears in their bodies. So even at their club levels, this is the period where players get injured the most. You know, you have illnesses, infections flying around, flu, and then a lot of them are cropping thigh, ankle, knee injuries. So yes, the coach will now have to ask, maybe I should take it a little more, because yes, I know it's going to be the African Cup of Nations, and you have to be physically prepared. So you might be tempted to want to heighten the intensity in training. But at this point, when players are falling out like chickens, the coach now has to step aside and say, maybe I have to just take it a little bit easy. But he just has to find a balance, because what if it's easy? I still always maintain that the main reason we lost to Ghana in that World Cup qualifier was because our trainings lacked the intensity, and we got there in Kumasi, we had 2 players injured. We got back to Abuja, in the first half we had a player injured. So while Ghana used the same starting lineup from the first leg for the second leg, we have made 3 injury enforced changes to the second leg. So Peseiro now has to find a balance, reducing the intensity, but not to the extent at which it will harm them by the time Equitorial Guinea come with their thunders on Sunday.
It was a straight battle between Paul Onuachu and Cyril Dessers to replace, unfortunately, Sadiq Omar, who picked up an injury. Do you think the coaches made the right call in picking Onuachu over Dessers?
I think so. You might pardon me if I'm a little bit sentimental about saying that for Paul Onuachu, who has played on the African continent very well, who is quite a physical striker, can make use of the head, can be a handful in the box, perhaps he's more fitting for the African Cup of Nations than a Cyril Dessers. That's me just thinking. And aside that, you have a Terry Murphy that could provide a little bit of balance. Osimhen is who he is, the best player in the continent, and then pacey, strong, technically brilliant. So I think Onuachu, considering again that the player getting injured is Umar Sadiq, who is also a tall presence in the box kind of striker, it's only accurate that a player like Paul Onuachu was the one called in to replace him.
According to Solis Chukwu, Sadiq Omar's height is basically just is very, very deceitful, as he scores most of his goals with his leg and very little with his head. But moving on from there, our midfield has an enforced change in the dropping for Al Hassan Yusuf. In short, this is the first time we are basically having 2 new faces in the midfield since the time of Gennett Rowe. All of that, we've used the same midfielders from Gennett Rowe up to this point. How well would this refreshed midfield, well, let me use the word refreshed, do the mainstays are still in the team, how well do you think this refreshed or spiced up midfield will perform at this tournament?
I'm not really sure about them because no doubt about the quality of these players. A lot of Nigerians have called and clamored for Alassane Yusuf's invitation for a couple of years back now. He's been consistent pretty much for his side, Royal Antwerp in Belgium. But the coach has simply refused to call him, and now you're calling him up for a major competition. Do you trust the player? That's the question. Even Rafael Onyedika, who has been consistently invited, has barely started up to 2 games on our Fisayo. So how do you trust them? So I'm expecting that he sticks with the likes of Onyeka, Aribo, and Iwobi, who is quite used to. He is quite used to. And then, can they deliver the AFCON title? Can they do it again as we've been clamoring? I don't think so. So it's left to him to see if he can now trust the players that he has had his eyes blanked away from in previous times for this competition.
Okay, talking about if they can deliver the AFCON title, throughout Jose Peseiro's tenure, Super Eagles has faltered to the sea. Basically, you look as if they are doing good. Next second, they are just basic. That's why having the best players in Africa, we cannot conquer opposition that you ordinarily say it's a winnable game. Don't bother. Even use your MPFL stars, for example, like the game against Liberia and all of this stuff. You get, these are games that should ordinarily be winnable, right? My question is, looking past this AFCON and all of that stuff, do you think Jose Peseiro can take the Super Eagles to the promised land, winning the AFCON that he promised?
I don't think so. I was strongly of the position that his contract should not be renewed. So it's left to him to prove me wrong. But I don't think any good thing can come out of Peseiro's Nazareth, because I think he's stuck in his old ways. Yes, it's good that coaches are stubborn, because you always have 1 million opinions around you. But you just question if what he is stuck to are perhaps the best part of it. I do not think so. So I don't think any good thing can come out of him. The jury is out for him. There's Africa Cup of Nations. Nigeria fell at the round of 16, in which Peseiro himself always alluded to the fact that we didn't deserve to go out at that point in Cameroon. So it's up to him to deliver for us a better performance, better results, at least get us to the semi-final. That task is not too much for him to accomplish. Will he accomplish it? The ball is in Jose Peseiro's court.
Last year was meant to be Osimhen's AFCON. Everybody says, but injury did not let him attend that AFCON. How well do you see Osimhen performing at this AFCON, bearing in mind the fact that we have wingers that do not cross the ball?
Well, it's not only about the wingers alone, because it's just you ask if he's going to get the service. Osimhen, the centre forward, is not all about crossing and nodding. One of those behind him will be Aribo. Are they dropping the passes? So that's a question. And for Victor Osimhen, this is the best time for him to be at AFCON. Come on, he's the best player on the African continent, and he needs to show everyone why he's Africa's best. The same continent that has Mohamed Salah, that has Sadio Mane. People want to see. Of course, they've seen a lot from him in Italian Serie A, but they want to see what he can do for Nigeria in the major competition. This is the first major competition in which Osimhen will be going to as Nigeria's first choice centre forward. So, and he's going at the best time of his career. Will he get his service? Will he hustle himself into great service and great end products? We wait to see at the tournament.
To end this video, just make a bold prediction on how far you think the Super Eagles can go, and what will be your preferred starting 11 to execute our first game.
I can't predict Peseiro's lineup, because I'm not really interested, really. But I think if the Eagles surpasses the quarter-final stage, they have done well, because I don't see them going beyond the quarter-final stage in this competition. Let's see what they do in the group, because I think Equitorial Guinea are underrated. They're a team that can spring upsets in the opening game against us. I think Nigerians have not really paid adequate attention to them. So if we don't beat Equitorial Guinea, how far can we go? So I wait to see. I give them a quarter-final stage, but predicting the starting lineup for Peseiro is giving myself an extra headache. It's not worth it for me.
Thank you very much, Fisayo.
Thank you.